Manager Elton Brand says there are no plans to trade Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid. He acknowledges the team lacked intensity at times, part of the reason for their bad record on the road this year before the seeding games began. Yesterday, our Bruce Bowen was on this program talking about Embiid. We'll play that for you a little bit later. Meanwhile, in the action on the floor last night, Jamal Murray continued his ridiculous run in the bubble, scored 42, added 8 assists, 8 boards. Nuggets beat the Jazz by 10. They force a game 6. He was the first player since 1977 to record back-to-back 40-point playoff games with no turnovers. And then as we open the show, Paul George scored 35, a huge bounce-back game for him. Kawhi Leonard scored 32. Clippers beat the Mavs 154-111. Here was Paul George after the game.
Whatever it was, I mean, the bubble got the best of me. I was just in a dark place. I really wasn't here. I checked out. So these past couple games, it was just difficult. I had, talks with a psychiatrist, our team psychiatrist, and I just felt it. My energy, my spirit just changed. I felt just in a great place, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed. I drowned out the noise, and I came here and I knew what my job was. I left it all on that court, and when I got off the court, I checked out, and now I'm ready to move forward.
So again, the 35 points from George last night, more than he had in the previous 3 games combined. And Coach Fizdale and Vince Carter with me here this morning. And guys, we'll talk some basketball here. And so let's get into that there. Vince, what did you see that was the difference from Paul George last night after he had struggled so much the previous 3 games?
I saw a comfortable Paul George, confident, and I feel like he just went out there and played the game of basketball. And whatever was worrying or bothering him or in the back of his mind, once he stepped in between the lines last night, he was a different beast. And the one thing I noticed, he was not settling for 3-point shots or anything in the first quarter. He was attacking, he was getting to the rim, he was trying to get as many easy baskets as he possibly could. Coach Fizz I recall him telling me that, hey, when you're struggling, get as close to the basket, get some layups, get some free throws as you can, and then work your way from there. And I noticed how he did that. He was trying to get downhill, and he was trying to get fouled or get a layup, and then you work your way out from there once you see the ball go through the net a couple of times.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about the psychology piece of this. You heard Paul George very openly there talking about how look, these are unimaginable circumstances these players are playing in. They're in a bubble away from their families, away from their lives. We have the circumstances that we spent the first 25 minutes of our show talking about today, where so much of the focus and attention has been on issues of social justice. And through all of that, these guys are trying to play their best basketball. So it became difficult for Paul George, and he openly acknowledges that as his coach. How do you handle something like that?
I applaud a guy like that. I think it shows incredible courage. A lot of he's very open about how he was feeling. He was very vulnerable about it. And I think that being that vulnerable and open shows a courage to me. And so, especially for a black man to talk about something that he's going through mentally, Vince can attest to this, that there's a stigma in our community that you shouldn't talk about mental health and what you're going through mentally, and it's weak, and it's not something that's looked upon well. So for him to do that and step up and say that, was a big thing, and I think it helped clear his head to go out there and perform the way he did.
I think it's remarkable. I think one of the things that fans sometimes underestimate is just the amount of mental focus that is required to play these games at the highest level. And when you're doing it under these circumstances, which to call them adverse would obviously be so understating the circumstance. I think it was well handled by George. And look, if he gets going, they obviously become very dangerous. Before I let Coach Fizz go for the day, Coach, I know there was a moment that you wanted to recall when you in Memphis were coaching a little bit younger Vince Carter. Go ahead, Coach, take us through this.
Hey, listen, come on. This guy's 40 years old now. I run a drop play to him from Zebo. I think it was Zebo that dropped it to you.
Yeah, I think
this
so.
guy spins baseline and does a 360 the wrong way. And I'm standing over, thank God. He just made me feel better about my age and that it's still some kind of hope for older guys. And I was just blown away when he did it, we all gave him hell after the game. Told him he's sandbagging and holding back on us. But that was just one of many memories I had with Vince. He was such a pro. He was always there early. He always practiced. He was always in the weight room after the game with the young guys. He even built out a bedroom for a rookie on our team so that he had another place to stay and spend time somewhere outside of his apartment, And so it was an honor to coach Vince and to know that I can't wait to get my jersey signed because all my Hall of Famers are on the wall. So I got Ray Allen over my shoulder. You might not be able to see it, but you going in there, and it was just a real pleasure to be your coach.
Thank you, my brother. Always, always.
That's such a nice moment. Can I just ask you one question, Vince, all kidding aside? But because I see guys like you make these moves that astonish all of us. Is there anything premeditated in that? Like when you make that first spin and you're going and now you see the defender coming, is it purely instinctual or do you actually have time to think in your head, I think I'll do a 360 in the opposite direction and lay it up from the other side of the rim?
So I can tell you it's instinctual. When you play the game long enough, you just kind of have different moves in your arsenal. I know people are going to be like, wait, what? But sometimes you have an option. So it's like, yeah, go take the foul. And I knew it was a big man who's a shot blocker. If I could get to the other side of the basket, I can make the layup. I have a chance to make the layup. And I know it sounds crazy. I've used this move a couple of times, so I felt comfortable doing so, even though some people at that age would say, hey, man, what are you doing? But I still felt comfortable like, hey, I could do this. And it worked.
Grady, listen, when you can jump to the moon, the amount of things you can do in that time span gives you some moments of creativity. See, you and we can jump over a piece of paper. This guy jumps, he can get up there and he can drink coffee, he can have breakfast, and then he'll figure everything. So he's playing with an unfair deck over there.
That's a nice moment. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that. Nice to have a smile today. Coach Vince, thanks a million. Vince, stay with me as we continue here. Meanwhile, I want to remind everybody we have 3 more NBA playoff games coming your way. Starting tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern time, Game 6, Nuggets and Jazz. Then, Game 1 of the Eastern semifinals, Jason Tatum and the Celtics taking on the Raptors. And then at 9 Eastern, can Kawhi and the Clippers put away Luka and the Mavs? That'll be Game 6 of that series. All 3 games are on ESPN and on the ESPN app. Well, let's get to football. Aaron Rodgers coming off back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons. He's had a few strong days of practices here. And I want to go back to something that we played for you yesterday. Rodgers saying that he's been watching tape of himself from back in 2010 and saw something that he thinks will be useful now. Listen to Aaron Rodgers.
I just noticed something from like a clip from 2010, actually. And it kind of hit me. And I know it was 10 years ago, but the next day I went out to practice and started working on what I saw on the film. I think it's just a good reminder for all of us. The tape of yourself can often be the most important to watch because you can always pick things up. I won't get into exactly what I saw, but it definitely has helped me the last couple of days.
So it was intriguing that he said that. And so yesterday, RC, we had Greg McElroy look at tape that was 10 years old and try and figure out what it is he thought he was seeing. Why are you, okay, you're not even going to let me finish the sentence. Why are you giving me that look?
Because y'all know what happened 10 years ago, Greeny. And y'all knew why y'all brought this back today. You know what? Earlier you talked about how much you loved us and how this was a safe space. This ain't no safe space, Greeny. This is the space where every time y'all bring up Aaron Rodgers, I am constantly attacked. You know what Aaron Rodgers did? Aaron Rodgers went back and watched the tape, and he was like, boy, I was good as hell. I'm about to go back and start doing the same things. It ain't nothing specific, Greeny. It's, he's covered, I dropped that dime. He's covered, I'm going to drop that dime. He's covered too. I'm going to look this way and drop the dime that way. You know why? Because I was that good. That's all you could see if you go back to 2010. Aaron Rodgers doing things that he was blessed to do. Like when Aaron Rodgers was walking through heaven with his shopping cart, there's a dude that's right in front of him, right, that was born in the same hospital. That dude has no athletic ability because his shopping cart is empty because Aaron Rodgers got all of his talent. In 2010, Aaron Rodgers was doing things that we had never seen. That football, that quarterback play